Good evening. There are currently nuclear-powered space robots probing our own solar system. Now don't be alarmed, these nuclear-powered space robots are not alien. They were sent by NASA. Currently there is a rover known as Perseverance on its way to Mars right now. One of the main objectives of this rover is to uncover if life ever existed on Mars. I recently got to go to JPL for an open house to view the rover before they sent it off, and it was an incredibly inspiring experience. I got to speak with some of the scientists and listen in on a seminar where they explained what the goal of the Mars 2020 rover was. And in large part, that mission is to uncover if life ever existed on Mars. From what I was learning and what I've researched, I believe that the Perseverance rover is giving us the best shot at uncovering whether or not life has ever existed on Mars, because they're going to be placing this rover in a great location to search for life. It's going to have the most advanced equipment to search the terrain, and then also if anything promising is found, it's going to potentially have the ability to send those samples back to Earth for further research. The area that was selected for the Mars rover to study took 5 years. It ultimately came down to 3 finalists, and Jezero Crater won and was the one that was ultimately selected. It's an ancient crater that used to have a river. There's geological evidence that a river, an inlet valley, led into the crater, and there was an outlet valley where water escaped. And that is a telltale sign of a large standing body of water that was there for a long period of time. And the longer that body of water was there, the more likely that life existed there, and that there are traces of that still in the crater today. They find large amounts of carbonates on in the crater. Dr. Katie Stack Morgan, the Mars 2020 project scientist, did a seminar on this where she talked about the carbonates and the high presence of them in this crater, and the fact that they could hold the fossils of ancient Martian life. So not only is it being placed, getting it placed into the right part of Mars is very important to uncovering signs of life. They also have to have the correct equipment to analyze it. And on Perseverance, they have some of the most cutting-edge technology ever sent. They're going to use an X-ray spectrometer known as Pixel, not the Google cell phone. This device is going to be able to analyze samples down to its basic compounds. It's going to be able to look inside for fossils that could be hiding inside these rocks. And it's very exciting about what the Pixel is going to be able to uncover once it gets up there, because it's not going to need to drill into every single rock. It's just going to be able to take x-rays and learn a whole lot about it. Also, there's going to be a drone on Perseverance, which is very exciting. This was reported on by the Space Daily staff writers reported this, that this drone is going to have the ability to be launched off and look for possible areas that they want to navigate the rover to, so that way they don't go right by promising locations. So it's going to give the rover a bird's eye view for the first time ever. Now, collecting all these samples is great, but in order to really prove the evidence of life, one of the best ways is going to be to send these samples back home to Earth. Now, Perseverance is going to have the ability to do cache sampling, where if it has samples that it believes to have, or that we believe to have signs of life, it's going to be able to encapsulate those, so that way a rover in the future is going to be able to collect those samples, and through a device that it will have, it will be able to launch those samples back home to Earth, which is very exciting news. Because in order to really prove that life once existed on Earth, we're going to need those samples back on Earth. Or to prove that life once existed on Mars, we're going to need those samples back here on Earth, so that way we can analyze them in a full laboratory. I think it's amazing that our generation gets to live in a time where we get to explore the distant worlds that, to our ancestors, were just glowing dots in the night sky. I think we're very lucky. And I encourage everyone to follow the progress of Perseverance closely, because it's going to be fascinating what's going to come out of it. I think with the location that they chose, the equipment that they're taking with them, and the capability of sending samples back to Earth, it's going to give, this rover gives mankind the best opportunity at finding evidence of life on Mars that we've ever had. I think this information that we could get from Mars, if we were able to know as a society that there has been life on other planets, it's going to help us reckon with old ideologies and progress mankind. So I'm very excited for the implications that this has for mankind. Thank you.